So in the Word Basic class, we worked with a letter as our document, but today we're going to focus more on larger documents like a report or a novel, larger documents that might have chapters and a table of contents and so on. So I'm going to share my screen.
So Joel,
Yes.
so it looks like Anne serves as a secretary for a couple of organizations, and any suggestions are helpful.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you're still there too. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this document, and it's in this fake language here, which we use for this kind of practice stuff. So don't let that alarm you. I'm trying to move my chat box. So yeah, so it's this fake language, but it's convenient for us to have something we can work with. So a couple of things, just kind of overview, background. If you've done some work with Word, you know that we have up on the top these menu tabs. You can click on them and bring up different menus. The home has a lot of basic stuff like fonts and bold and so on. Insert is where you put in tables and pictures, things like that. Drawing, design is more styles, layout. You have your margins, different size paper, some other things we're going to talk about today. References is for footnotes and pages and cross references, title headings or figure headings. Mailing is for mail merge if you want to send out a lot of letters. And then review is for most commonly used for markup. It also has a thesaurus and word count and so on. And view is for how you want it to look on your screen. So anyway, those are the menus. One thing I want to mention is that you have, and it might be above your menu, a little bar that has some quick access icons. If you have it, and I don't know if you're looking at Word on your computer now or not, and trying to follow along. Actually, if you could let Sarah know if you're going to try to follow along on your computer, then I will maybe go a little bit slower. But anyway, when you open Word on your computer, you might have a couple of things that might be above the menu up here. But just to tell you, you can customize this by clicking on this arrow here and going down to more commands. And then you can put in whatever commands that you think might be useful. Like if you want to have a button to center text, you can add it to that quick bar and it'll come up here. And so that's a way you can have quick access to things that you use a lot, like fonts or font sizes, font colors, bullets, the format painter and so on. So that's something you can set up on your computer to be, make it nice for you.
Hey, Joel, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, she is trying to follow along.
Okay, great.
We got the answer. Thank you.
Does she have this document?
I sent out this document, so I'm not sure,
Okay.
Anne, if you're using this document or if you decided to choose one of your own.
Okay. So anyway, that's a little thing you can do to customize. The other thing, so, you can use your mouse to move around the document and click wherever you need to be. You can, there are usually 3 different ways to do anything in Word or any of the Microsoft products. And the other thing is, whenever you want to do something, usually what you have to do is select it, and then you can do something with it. So if we wanted to make this paragraph bold, we have to select it. And then there are 3 different ways that we could make it bold. One is we could go up here to the home menu and click on bold. Or we could right click on the mouse and this little menu comes up and we could make it bold. Or we could use keyboard commands. And I tend to use a lot of keyboard commands because I started using the software before we had mouses. So if you highlight it and you type Control B, then it will be bolded. And if you type Control B again, it will be unbolded. If you can type Control I, it will be italic. If you type Control U, it will be underlined, etc. So, or, you can right click and hit the italic, or go up to the menu and hit the italic. Or,
hey Joel, you're going in and out a little bit, and I'm not sure.
Oh,
the audio just a little bit.
Okay, all right. Let me. I'm going to get closer to the microphone, and if it's a problem, let me know, and I'll.
Okay, thank you. And yes, she's using the document we sent out.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. So again, there are usually 3 different ways to do anything, and you use whatever is comfortable for you, either the menu, the right click, or the keyboard commands. To me, if you keep your fingers on the keys as much as possible, you can go quicker and it's easier to do stuff, but you have to kind of get used to it. So again, it's whatever you're comfortable with. Now, let's see. So if you have a document, typically you'll be typing it up first. But some of the basic formatting things that we want to do would be spacing. And so if we go to the home menu, here we have spacing, whatever you like. We also have our alignment, whether it's left justified, right justified, which you typically wouldn't do for a document, centered if it's a title, or fully justified, right and left. This was very hard to do when we were using typewriters. It's basically impossible to do when you're using a typewriter. It was kind of fancy. So when word processing first came out, everybody wanted things fully justified, but it can create odd spacing, and usually from a design perspective, people tend to say just left justified is better. But again, that's a style thing, you can decide, but as long as you know how to do it. And this is one case where you don't have to select the whole paragraph to change it. As long as your mouse is somewhere in the paragraph, you can change the alignment as you wish. Of course, you can also select the font. And here we'll select that, and you have many, many fonts. This is a little bit machine dependent. So some of these fonts are standard, some of them may be loaded on your computer, but you can see, you can get a sense of what they look like as you scroll through, and you can pick, whatever weird font works for whatever document you're working on. And of course, you can change them in the middle of a document if you need to. And also, if you're doing technical work, you might need to use a technical font that has symbols and so on. So you can set, let's say, the spacing for each piece of the document. But we'd like to have a way to manage the whole document and new documents as we create them. So that's where the styles come in. And two important things. One is undo, which you might know about, but we all make mistakes. I make a lot of them. In Word, you can undo by typing Control-Z. So I undo what I just did there. It's also, I never use it, so I forget where it is, but it's on one of these menus. Can you remind me, Sarah?
Hi, sorry. Yeah, so on mine, it's interesting because I use the one at the
top.
Top, yeah. Is yours not
so,
there?
Well, I took it out because I never use it.
Oh.
But anyway, it's probably on the top bar. There's like a little curvy backwards arrow. And so, but I use Control-Z, which is undo, or Control-Y, which is redo. So if you make a mistake, and it can be a big mistake, like you can delete the whole document and just hit Control-Z and it'll come back. And you can also undo more than one thing. If you make 3 mistakes in a row, you can undo back three steps. So that's pretty useful. Yeah, so you notice, if you look up here, I have styles as a quick icon here, but it's telling me that I am currently in the normal style. And so that's going to apply to anything that I type as I'm typing. So it also shows here under this menu, under the home menu, you have the list of all your styles. So your normal style is typically when you open a document and start typing, it's going to be in whatever this normal style is. And if you right click on that style and hit modify, you can see what it is. So my normal style is Calibri font, 11 point, and then it also says its line spacing is 1.08, so just a little bit more than single spaced. And there's a space after the paragraph. So when I hit return at the end of a paragraph, if I type when I hit return, it's going to create a space after that.
We're still losing you in and out just a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
I went back. This is a Zoom thing. Actually, I might be able to do, well, okay, I'll leave it alone for now. So the styles are very helpful. Once you set up the style that you're going to be using, if you're working in an office and they have a particular font that they always use, and they always like things space and a half or single space, whatever it is, you can set up this style so that you will automatically be in the right style. And again, if you right click on it and go to modify, if your office decides, oh, no, you know what, we're going to go to Arial font, and just change it, and everything will be in Arial when you use that style, or whatever it is. Now, there are other styles, and there are 2 styles that are really important for, in particular, if you are doing reports. So, and those are the heading styles. So I'm going to say, we're going to have an introduction, and I'm going to go into my style library. This is my shortcut to the style library. I'm going to make it the style heading 1. And you see, it's changed the font to a heading font, font and color, and it's automatically numbered it. Now, I actually modified this style in advance to add the numbering, and I'm probably going to have to do that for the heading 2 style in a minute. So I'll wait till we get there. But this is a really useful thing, because not only does it number, and it will number automatically, but that numbering gets carried through to different things like the table of contents and figure numbers and table numbers, which we'll see in a little bit. So let's just put in some more headings. Actually, I'm going to put in heading 2. So this will be my second level heading, and I'll just call it subheading. And I'll go to my style library and I'll label it subheading. Now you see, oops, it's a similar font, but it's smaller because it's a subheading. There's no number there. I want it to be numbered. So I'm going to go back into my heading. I'm going to right click, modify, and go down here to format, numbering, and I'm going to just use Arabic numbers. And let's see if that does what I want it to do. No, I want it to number 1.2. Numbering, and let's see. Number style. I did not practice this in advance. So let's see. Might have to let this go for now, and we'll come back to it. Anyway, so we have a heading and a subheading, and that's fine so far. Now, the other thing that's important in this is breaks. So if we want to start a second chapter, we want to insert a break. If we want the chapter to start on a new page, we need to insert a break. And so we go here to breaks, and we can insert a page break, which will start a new page, but we actually want us to have a section break. And let me explain what the difference is. So I'm going to do it. I'll bring up the break menu. So a page break just starts a new page, but it's not going to change any of the numbering, things like that. If we use a section break, it'll trigger a new number in our headings, and I want it to start on a new page. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to type next chapter. And when I change the heading, you see it's actually made it the next chapter. It's made it chapter 2. So that's great if you have a long document, because it will automatically keep track of the numbering. And when you do the table of contents, it will automatically pick up those numbers that you have from the headings. So I'm going to make one more chapter heading, and doing Alt-I-B to bring up the pages. I'm going to do a section break, next page. I'm going to type last chapter. go to the heading, the styles, pick heading 1, and there's my third chapter. So we'll see in a minute why that's important. Now, a minute ago I said there were 2 important things. One was that there's 3 ways to do everything. The other thing is saving your work. You probably already know this, but it's really important to save your work all the time because something will happen and you will not be able to get it back if it dies or there's a power failure because there's a snowstorm or whatever. You can use the file menu to save. You can use the little, you probably have the little floppy disk icon in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. You can use that. I took it away because I use Control S to save, which again, my hands are already on the keyboard. So every time I stop typing, I just do Control S and it's saved. So
Hey,
that's,
Joel, I just wanted to pause and just see, Anne, if you had any questions to go ahead and ask, or especially if you need Joel to, go over anything that wasn't clear. And also just reiterate this, how save and undo work. If you've saved your latest changes, you can still undo something if you made a mistake. So I don't want you to not be saving because you're worried you won't be able to undo something, because it will still undo it even if you saved it. So
that's right.
save a lot, save often.
Yeah.
And if your work situation allows you to have the auto save on, I recommend using that. But since we don't know your work environment, we don't know if that is the case or not. All right. And I don't see any additional questions, but feel free to throw them out. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, thank you. And if I'm going too fast or if you have any questions, for sure. So now, when you, to talk more about breaks. So let's put a title on this document. Let's see. Sometimes when you have headings, it's hard to get in front of them. I'm just going to do.
Anna asked where auto save is. I don't know if you have that on yours. I have it on mine because of my work, so I can show that at the end if you want.
Okay.
Okay. And sorry, just at the end, I can share my screen and I can show you how my auto save works. So we'll just save that one for later. Thank you for asking though.
So if we wanted to make a title, we would want to have a blank page ahead of where we are in our text here. We could just go up to the top and type return a million times until we get to a new page. But that would be a little awkward. And also when we start typing up above, to put in our title, it's also going to push things down from where our text is. So instead of that, we can just use a page break. And this it can be just a simple page break. So, oops, not there. Sorry. We can insert a page break and it gives us a new page. You can also type Control Enter, does a simple page break. Or you can insert a cover page. Word actually will give you some sample cover pages, some different formats, and you can just pick one and it'll give you a cover, and you could type your title here, etc. So again, depending on the kind of document you're doing, that can be helpful. I'm going to well, I'll leave that there. Later on, I'm going to put in a table of contents, so I'm going to just leave a blank page here for that. I put in a page break with control break. And let's see, I moved this around earlier. And I'll put back my style there. My style heading 1. And so let's look at page numbers. So I can go over to insert page number. And it gives me some different options, top of page, bottom of page, etc. I'm going to go bottom of page, and there's some different styles. I'm going to do this one here, and you can see it's put in a little the word page and a bar and the 2, and it will number those. Now, this is a different font. Or maybe it's just a different size, or maybe it's not. Let's see. No, it's the same font. Okay. So to get back and forth between the main text and the footer where the page number is, just go down in the footer and double click, and you could get down there, and you could, if you wanted to, for example, highlight it and change the size. If you said, I'd like the page number to be smaller, then you can just do that. And then to get back to the main text, just double click in the main text, and you're up there. You might also want to put something in the header. You can just double click in the header, and you could type here, confidential, do not cite or quote. Oops, quote. And then that will be the header on every page from then on. Now, there's a little problem here because this is really page 1 of our document, but it's showing as page 2 because the pages started up here on this blank page that I was saving for my table of contents. And so this is where you need, again, a section break. A section break says that, this section is going to be different from, the pages before. So I'm going to go here for a second and click on this icon, which shows my some hidden characters. So it shows the paragraph marks where I hit return, and it shows where I have a page break. And I'm going to go in here, and instead of the page break, I'll take the page, instead of the page break, I'm going to insert a section break. I'm going to say section break, next page. Take out that page break. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, and you see I double clicked in the footer now, and you see it says section 2. And up here in this one, sorry. Up here it's section 1. So, and it's now starting my pages on page 1 of this section. So, so that's what I wanted. So I've made sure that this is the beginning of section 2, and my pages will number correctly from now on. So I'm going to take away those little paragraph marks. Yeah, so I can just see what's going on here. A couple of other things. If I wanted to have a table, I could go here and insert a table, use this little icon, and you just drag and say how big you want it to be, a 4x4 table, and it goes in, and you can enter different headings across the top. And whatever information you want to put in there. You can also go up here to table designs, and you have a whole bunch of different ways to format your table. So maybe it looks like this. Well, let's give it a little bit of color. So you can format your table. But the other thing is you can go here and insert a caption for your table, and it will automatically number. So it'll say the first table. Let's see, we can decide where we want it, whether we want it above or below. And we can include the chapter number. So now it's going to say table 2-1. So I guess we already got into heading 2. So it's really the second table. Yeah, because we're in chapter 2 here. So it's automatically going to follow that heading number that you put in because you're using the heading style, and it's automatically going to number your tables. If you have a long report, this automatic numbering is super helpful. Whether you use the heading number or not, if you suddenly insert a table or a figure, it works the same way for figures. It'll automatically renumber all the tables for you. And again, if you have a long report, that is really helpful. We could do the same thing here. Insert a table. I don't have any figures to insert, but you can put in a different size table. And we'll use the same design. And we'll add a caption. And now, because we're in chapter 1, it's numbering it table 1-1. We'll call this one the first table. And you could change it to have the, I usually put the title in the middle, but you can do it however you want. So, so that's great. And let's just go back then and see if we can generate the table of contents. So if we go in here and say, let's see, oh, it's under references, table of contents. And again, you have some different styles. And bingo, it's picked it up with all of the, because we were using the heading style, it knows to look for the headings and the subheadings. And you can define third level headings and fourth level headings as well, as many as you want. But it will automatically then generate your table of contents. You can also Oh, you know, I had this left over from someplace where I didn't delete it. You can insert other tables. Let's see, I want to make sure I got it out of the way here. You can insert a table of figures or let's see. Yeah, so so here is a list of tables. Because we use the automatic numbering feature for the tables, it will track them down and put them in this list. Now, if we, so, you know, my table 2-1 is on page 3. If I add some text, wait a minute. This should be table 1-1. Yeah, okay. Did you see what I just did? It was showing as table 2-1, even though it's in chapter 1. So I highlighted it, I right-clicked, and I told it to update because it wasn't counting right. So then it updated the numbering for me. So my table 2-1, where is it? I had 2 tables, right?
Yes, I believe you had 2 tables, 1 and
Okay.
2 and 1 and 1.
You know what? You know what happened? Where's my where's my introduction? Oh, there it is. I lost my numbering here. This happens sometimes. It gets tricky when things get lost between, see, this is my original, part of my original numbering, and it got stuck on the wrong page. Behind this page break. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I got my numbering back. So there's my introduction. There's my first table. Here's my second chapter. I'm going to just tell it to renumber this. What I was going to say is in my list of tables, my second table is on page 2. if I type some more text in here so that the table rolls over to the next page, when I update my table of contents, it'll change to the right number. Now, let's see why I'm getting my page numbers wrong. This is, page numbers are one of the most irritating things. I have too many sections here. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is footnotes. If you have footnotes as you're typing along, it would be under references. And so you could go here and insert a footnote, and it will pop down. And this might be a citation to a document, or it could be a comment. And so it will automatically number them and put them down here. You can also change if you don't want them numbered. You can change your footnotes styles. So you could have an asterisk or a, Roman numerals or different kinds of indicators for the footnotes. Here we go. So you can say where you want it. You can say if they're numbered, or if you want to use a symbol instead of numbers, etc. You can do that. If you want to use letters or Roman numerals, etc., you can do all those things. You can also, and I'm right-clicking to pull up this menu. You can also convert it to an endnote, and then it will automatically bring them all to the end of the document. And, these are kind of style things that, depending on the style that you use in your, whatever kind of document it is, it might specify endnotes or footnotes and so on. So I guess the last thing, not the last thing, but the other thing just to talk about is bullets. So you might want to have a bulleted list, and it's here under the home page, and there's a default. You can just choose that one, and you can type in your list of things. Then if you type an extra line after the last one, it will go back to the normal style. Yeah, and your list will be done, and you can just keep typing here. You can also change the style if you go up to the bullet menu. And you can change whether you want to have a square dot or a check mark or an arrow. And you can also make more other kinds of changes. You can change the spacing and so on, or the font. Now, one thing you might want to do is, you got a lot of extra space here. You might want to put in a double column of bullets. So you could go, let's see, to the layout and columns and make 2 columns of bullets like that. That looks kind of good. And you can make as many. You can make 3 columns, you know, you have a lot of options there. Now, let's just also look and see what happened here. See, what it did was it inserted a section break. It's inserted 2 section breaks here. One is a section break that says, now I'm going to be doing 2 columns. And then one is a section break that says, now I'm going back to regular full page. And this is a continuous section break. So before we did a section break with a new page, but this one is continuous. So it's not interrupting the flow of the text, but it's allowing you to change something about the style in the middle of the text. And when you use the column command, it does it automatically. You can do it manually, insert a break, a continuous break if there's some other formatting thing that you want to do in the middle of the text, and then undo it. But the column command will take care of it automatically. So let's see if we can sort out our page numbers. And it has to do with all of these section breaks.
And Joel, while you do that,
Yeah.
do you want to demonstrate how you can turn on showing the paragraph markers?
Yeah,
And just so you know, those are for editing purposes. If you were going to go print this document, you wouldn't see those. They're just there to help you edit your document.
that's correct. Those don't get, those do not get shown when you print. I think this cover, when I inserted the cover page, it added a new section, and it's a first page. There are different kinds of sections and section breaks. So it inserted this first page footer here, and a first section, then section 2. Sometimes in a report, you want to have Roman numerals before the document starts. So, and it also says here, same as previous. So these sections, manipulating these sections is a little tricky, but it's important for doing page numbers, as we can see. So the sections are numbered. So this is section 1. Now there's a page break here. So now we're in section 2, and it says same as previous. So whatever is in the footer in section 1 is going to get carried over here. So for example, if we had page numbers in the previous section, the numbering would continue to this section. But I don't really want that. So I'm going to go up here to the header and footer menu. And let's see, I'm not going to link to the previous. So now it doesn't say I unlinked. So now it doesn't say same as previous. So if I inserted, for example, a page number here at the bottom of the page, and I don't want it to be 0, so I'm going to right click on it, format page numbers. I'm going to start at 1, but I'm going to do it as Roman numerals. So my table of contents is going to be page Roman numeral 1. And then when I get into my text, I don't want this to be the same as before either. So I'll go up here, unlink previous, right click, format my page number. Now you see I can choose to have it continue from the previous section or start at 1. And it's going to be regular numbers. Now let's see what happens when I go to my next chapter. Chapter 2, same as previous, and it's continuing the numbering from the previous chapter. So that's what I wanted it to do. So my page numbers are happy now. Although, let's see, this page number is a different format. Let's see. Sorry. Every time I go up to the menu, it brings down my Zoom menu, and then I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So now double click back in the text area. I've got my chapters numbered. I've got my tables numbered. I've got my pages numbered. I have my columns. And my second table, I'm going to go up and turn off that paragraph indicator. So now I can just see how things look. And my table of contents is there. You notice it hasn't updated these pages. I can just right click on it and say update. And it can either update just the page numbers, or if I had changed the title of the table, I would want to update the whole table. So if I go back and say, and then now I'm going to update the entire table, it's going to pick up that title as well. So let's see. I guess just a couple of other things, and then I'll ask if there's specific things that you want to talk about or questions you want to go back and look at, is just kind of the design of the document. And we probably want to do this through the styles so that we could select, could manually select. Oh, you know, one thing that I didn't mention, you might know it already, but is the format painter. So if you have formatted a bit of text differently than the rest of the document, let's say I've got some text here, and just these 3 lines, I want them to look differently, and I tab them over, and I make them italic and bold, and I don't know, different things. And I want to make these other lines look just like that. I can go up here and use the format paintbrush, which is under the home menu. So I pick up the format of where I was, and then I can drag it over these other lines, and it will just paint that same format over whatever I'm doing. So if there's just one piece, you're not reformatting the whole document, but there's just a little piece, you can use that format painter brush, which is over here. You can see now why I've selected these things to be on my quick access menu. I've got the bullet thing, I've got the format painter, I've got my fonts and my sizes here. So those are things that I tend to go back to, or my font colors. I'm going to change my font colors, they're right here. And again, you can customize that yourself for the commands that you use frequently. We can, if we had just one page, a letter or something, we could select the whole thing. Or another thing, if you want to select several paragraphs, let's say, here's a quick way to do that. Of course, you can drag with the mouse, but you can also do this. You can click at the beginning, then scroll down, hit the Shift key, and then click. So Shift and click, and it will select that whole section, which is convenient if you just want to, it's more than a paragraph, but it's not the whole document. That's a convenient way to do it. So we could, well, the other thing, you can select the entire document by doing Control A. So I did Control A, I've selected the entire document. I could go up here to the margin and I could make the whole document have narrower margins. That's a little narrow really, but anyway, and of course, that's also going to change how the pages run now because there's more per page, but the table of contents would automatically pick that up. So I can do that. Again, you have to select and then make the change. So I could change it there if I want to do the whole document or part of the document. But I could also go to the style menu, right click, modify, and down here under formats, I could change the, let's see, that's borders. Can I change the margin there? Maybe not. Maybe I have to use the design page. Okay, I take it back. So you have to actually select it and change it. There was another thing that I just thought of that I wanted to mention that had to do with inserting breaks. When I was looking at margins. Oh, I know what it is. Let's say you have a table or you have a big table and you want that table to be a landscape table. You want a landscape page in the middle of this document, for it to be sideways. You can definitely do that. And so let's say that you want it, let's see, your convenient place. Yeah, right here. Right here, we want to have a landscape page. And so the way we do that is we insert a page, a break, a next page break. And you're not seeing it because I already had a page break there, but I'm going to do another one. And so here's a page, a blank page. And if I look at, you see I've got a page break there and a page break there. So if I go here after that break, and now I'm going to go up to my layout, orientation, and I'm going to make this page landscape. Okay. So, and now I can I could insert a table, and it would be a landscape table on this page. And it's not affecting the page before or after because I've put in this section break. So again, that's another reason to use a section break. The page numbering continues, etc., unless I tell it not to. So yeah, that's a convenient thing sometimes if you have a big table or a figure. You can make a landscape section in the middle. Oh, I was going to turn this off. I think those are the things I was going to cover. It's actually, I think, a fair amount, but let me just stop and ask if there are things that you want to go back and have me explain again, or if there's a particular thing that you are interested in doing that I didn't cover.